Good evening and welcome back to another episode of The Longing, where today we are going to be continuing to read the Iliad by Homer. So, let's get going. Meantime, unwearied with his heavenly way, in ocean's waves the unwilling light of day quenched his red orb at Juno's high command, and from their labours eased the Achaean band. The frighted Trojans panting from the war, their steeds unharnessed from the weary car. A sudden council called that each chief appeared, in haste and standing, for to sit they feared. 'Twas now no season for prolonged debate, they saw Achilles and in him their fate. Silent they stood, Polydamas at last, skilled to discern the future by the past. The son of Panthus thus expressed his fears, the friend of Hector and of equal years. The self-same night to both a being gave, one wise in counsel, one in action brave. Juno commanding the sun to set. In free debate, my friends, your sentence speak. For me I move before the morning break. To raise our camp too dangerous here our post, far from Troy walls and on a naked coast. I deemed not Greece so dreadful while engaged in mutual feuds her king and hero raged. Then, while we hoped our armies might prevail, we boldly camped beside 1,000 sail. I dread Pelides now, his rage of mind not long continues to the shores confined, nor to the fields where long in equal fray contending nations won and lost the day. For Troy shall henceforth be the strife, and the hard contest not for fame but life. Haste then to Ilion while the favouring night detains these terrors, keeps that arm from fight. But if but the morrow's sun behold us here, that arm those terrors we should feel, not fear. And hearts that now disdain shall leap with joy, if heaven permit them then to enter Troy. Let not my fatal prophecy be true, nor what I tremble but to think ensue. Whatever be our fate, yet let us try what force of thought and reason can supply. Let us on counsel for our guard depend, the town her gates and bulwarks shall defend. When morning dawns, our well-appointed powers, arrayed in arms, shall line the lofty towers. Let the fierce hero, then, when fury calls, vent his mad vengeance on our rocky walls, or fetch 1,000 circles round the plain, till his spent coursers seek the fleet again. So may his rage be tired and laboured down, and dogs shall tear him ere he sack the town. Return, said Hector, fired with stern disdain. What, coop whole armies in our walls again? Was't not enough, ye valiant warriors, say? 9 years imprisoned on those towers ye lay. Wide o'er the world was Ilion famed of old, for brass exhaustless and for mines of gold. But while inglorious in her walls we stayed, sunk were her treasures and her stores decayed. The Phrygians now her scattered spoils enjoy, and proud Maeonia wastes the fruits of Troy. Great Jove at length my arms to conquest calls, and shuts the Grecians in their wooden walls. Darest thou dispirit whom the gods incite? Flies any Trojan, I shall stop his flight. To better counsel then attention lend, take due refreshment and the watch attend. If there be one whose riches cost him care, forth let him bring them for the troops to share. 'Tis better generously bestowed on those, than left the plunder of our country's foes. Soon as the morn the purple orient warms, fierce on yon navy will we pour our arms. If great Achilles rise in all his might, his be the danger, I shall stand the fight. Honour ye gods, or let me gain or give, and live he glorious, whosoe'er shall live. Mars is our common lord, alike to all, and oft the victor triumphs but to fall. The shouting host in loud applauses joined, So Pallas robbed the many of their mind, to their own sense condemned and left to choose the worst advice, the better to refuse. While the long night extends her sable reign, around Patroclus mourned the Grecian train. Stern in superior grief Pelides stood, those slaughtering arms so used to bathe in blood. Now clasp his clay-cold limbs, then gushing start, the tears and sighs burst from his swelling heart. The lion thus, what with dreadful anguish stung, roars through the desert and demands his young. When the grim savage to his rifled den, too late returning, snuffs the track of men, and o'er the vales and o'er the forest bounds, his clamorous grief the bellowing wood resounds. So grieves Achilles, and impetuous vents to all his myrmidons his loud laments. In what vain promise gods did I engage, when to console Menetius' feeble age I vowed his much-loved offspring to restore, charged with rich spoils to fair Opuntia's shore. 252. But mighty Jove cut short with just disdain the long views of poor designing man. One fate the warrior and the friend shall strike, and Troy's black sands must drink our blood alike. Me too a wretched mother shall deplore, an aged father never see me more. Yet, my Patroclus, yet a space I stay, then swift pursue thee on a darksome way. Ere thy dear relics in the grave are laid, shall Hector's head be offered to thy shade, that when he with his arms shall hang before thy shrine, and 12 the noblest of the Trojan line, sacred to vengeance, by this hand expire, their lives effused around thy flaming pyre. Thus let me lie till then, thus closely pressed, bathe thy cold face and sob upon thy breast, while Trojan captives hear thy mourners stay, weep all the night and murmur all the day. Spoils of my arms and thine when wasting wide, our swords kept time and conquered side by side. He spoke and bade the sad attendants round cleanse the pale corse and wash each honoured wound. A massy cauldron of stupendous frame they brought and placed it o'er the rising flame, then heaped the lighted wood the flame divides beneath the vase and climbs around the sides. In its wide womb they pour the rushing stream, the boiling water bubbles to the brim. The body then they bathe with pious toil, embalm the wounds, anoint the limbs with oil. High on a bed of state extended laid, and decent covered with a linen shade. Last o'er the dead the milk-white veil they threw, that done their sorrows and their sighs renew. Meanwhile to Juno in the realms above, his wife and sister spoke almighty Jove. At last thy will prevails, great Peleus' son, rises in arms, such grace thy Greeks have won. Say, for I know not, is their race divine, and thou the mother of that martial line? What words are these, the imperial dame replies, while anger flashed from her majestic eyes? Succour like this a mortal arm might lend, and such success mere human wit attend. And shall not I, the second power above, heaven's queen and consort of the thundering Jove, say, shall not I one nation's fate command, not wreak my vengeance on one guilty land? Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Cool. So it seems we're getting about 7 pages. 7 pages a time, roughly. Obviously, it is only rough because it depends on how difficult the pages are to read. So, for example, if there's a lot of names in there that are not standard to me, yeah, I'm going to get confused. I'm going to get confused quite easily. So it's going to take me longer to read than normal. But anyway, I am going to say thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon or night. no matter what time of day it is. I hope you all have a wonderful one of it. And as always, we will be back tomorrow for more of The Longing. Goodbye.